Throughout history, humanity has been shaped by powerful resources, fire, coal, electricity, and for more than a century, oil. But today we're asking a question that sounds impossible. What would happen if all oil on Earth disappeared tomorrow? 6 a.m. The world wakes up to another ordinary day. Millions of people drive to work, thousands of planes prepare for takeoff, cargo ships continue crossing the oceans, factories begin their morning shifts. But today something happens that humanity has never experienced before. Overnight, all of the oil on Earth disappears. There's no oil left in Saudi Arabia, no oil left in Russia, no oil left in the United States, no new barrels, no hidden reserves, nothing. The world has just lost a resource that provides around 100 million barrels of oil every single day. In the first hours, governments try to understand what happened. In Washington, emergency meetings begin. In Beijing, energy companies start calculating their remaining fuel supplies. In Europe, leaders discuss how to protect critical infrastructure. But one thing becomes clear very quickly. Oil cannot simply be replaced overnight. Because oil is not just fuel. It is the foundation of a system that took more than a century to build. When the global markets open, panic begins. Airline stocks collapse. Transportation companies lose billions of dollars. Car manufacturers face an uncertain future. Investors understand something important. This is not a normal energy crisis. The price of oil is no longer rising because oil no longer exists. The first major industry to feel the impact is aviation. Every day, thousands of passenger flights operate around the world. The planes are ready. The pilots are ready. The passengers are waiting. But there is one problem. Every flight consumes fuel. That can never be replaced. Airports begin canceling flights, not all at once. First, long-distance international routes. Then, less critical flights. Fuel supplies are reserved for essential operations, medical transportation, rescue missions, and government services for millions of people. This is the first moment they realize something has changed forever. By the end of the first day, most people are still living their normal lives. But something feels different. Gas stations begin filling with long lines. People start buying fuel before it runs out. Stores see more customers than usual. Many believe this will be fixed in a few days, but they don't understand the real problem. The problem is not gasoline. The problem is that the modern world depends on constant movement, the movement of people, the movement of goods, the movement of energy. And when that movement starts to slow down, the real crisis has only just begun. 3 days later, the world is no longer talking about the disappearance of oil. It is now struggling to survive without it. And every country is facing its own unique crisis. United States. A transportation collapse. 73% of all domestic freight moves by truck. Without diesel, millions of deliveries have stopped. Fresh food is disappearing from shelves first, not because it doesn't exist, but because it can't be delivered. Most American supermarkets keep only 2 to 3 days of stock. Once the trucks stop, the countdown begins. Japan. An energy shock. Japan imported 99% of its oil. Now there is nothing left to import. Commercial aviation is almost completely grounded. Maritime shipping has slowed dramatically. A country that always relied on imports is suddenly cut off from energy. Saudi Arabia. An economic collapse. Oil accounted for nearly 70% of the country's export revenue. Now the oil fields are silent. Empty pipelines, shut down refineries, idle ports. Trillions of dollars in infrastructure remain, but the resource is gone. China. A manufacturing crisis. China is the world's largest manufacturing economy. Factories can still produce good, but they can't get raw materials in or finished products out. Major ports have sharply reduced operations. The factory of the world can no longer supply the world. 4 countries, 4 different crises on transportation, energy, exports, manufacturing. And if entire nations are already struggling after just 3 days, what happens to the people whose jobs depended entirely on oil? 1 week later, the crisis is measured in lost jobs. Commercial airline pilots, long-haul truck drivers, oil rig workers. There's nothing left to drill. Nothing left to refine. Tanker crews. Some of the world's largest oil tankers, can carry over 2 million barrels of crude oil. Now, they carry nothing. But while some jobs disappear, others become essential. Railway workers, power grid engineers, electric vehicle technicians, renewable energy specialists. For over a century, oil created millions of jobs. Now it is creating an entirely new economy. For millions of families, the crisis is no longer something they watch on the news. It's the empty shelf, the delayed medicine, the bus that never arrives. Everyday life has changed. 1 month later, humanity is struggling, but the planet is beginning to recover. Millions of cars, ships, and aircraft have stopped moving. Global emissions fall. The skies become quieter. The oceans change too. With fewer cargo ships underwater, noise drops dramatically. For whales and dolphins, the oceans become quieter than they've been in decades. Air quality improves. Satellite images reveal cleaner skies above many major cities. Mountains, hidden behind smog, become visible again. Wildlife slowly returns, not because nature has won, but because humanity has paused. The crisis isn't saving the planet, it's revealing how deeply our civilization depends on oil. If 1 month without oil changed the Earth this much, what would 1 year look like? 1 year later, the world is almost unrecognizable. Not because civilization collapsed, because it adapted. Gasoline cars have largely disappeared, railways have become the backbone of transportation, electric vehicles are now a necessity. Governments accelerate investment in renewable energy, battery technology, and electric infrastructure. Projects once expected to take decades are completed in years. Some industries never recover. Commercial aviation remains a fraction of its former size. The global oil industry exists only in history books. Millions of jobs disappeared, millions of new ones replaced them. Humanity didn't survive because technology saved it. Humanity survived because it adapted. Oil didn't just power our cars, it powered an entire civilization. Only after losing it did we realize how much of our world depended on it. Throughout history, every civilization was shaped by the resources it depended on. Oil was ours. But every era eventually comes to an end. The question isn't whether humanity could survive without oil. The question is, what will become the next resource that defines our future? Fade to black. Oil built the modern world. What will build the next one?